Today on the newscast, we head to Israel's ancient Tel Beit Shemesh to see the very place where the Bible says the Ark of the Covenant once stood. That's next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. If you watch us on a regular basis, you know that we love biblical archaeology here at the newscast. And we've got a great discovery for you today. We're going to head to Tel Beit Shemesh, a little over 30 miles southwest of Jerusalem, where I filmed recently with our good friend Danny the Digger Herman at the very spot that 1 Samuel identifies as the place where the Ark of the Covenant was kept after it was returned to the ancient Israelites from the Philistines over 3,000 years ago. Now, the Bible says things didn't work out so well for the Philistines after they captured the Ark, but it was soon delivered back to its rightful owners, and Tel Beit Shemesh was where they received it. Let's head there now with Israeli tour guide and archaeologist Danny the Digger Herman.
Okay, we are at the northern edge of Tel Beit Shemesh right now. All of this area has been excavated in the last, 15 years or so. But 2 years ago, the team decided to excavate in the back of the sacrificial space. And what was found here? You have to look at this.
Let's do it.
Be careful of the snakes, just so you know.
Thank you for the warning.
This is the season, but it looks good. And Eric, I'm excited each time I come here. Look at the evidence. We are inside a room that is part of where animals were sacrificed. In fact, you can see here in the field thin layers of dark ash, of repeated fires, and animal bones were found in them. And here in the middle of the back room, you have a big flat stone, not falling down, intentionally put this way, whose dimension is a cubit and a half over about 3 cubits. The size of the ark was a cubit and a half and 2.5 cubits.
The Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, meaning this is slightly bigger than the ark, very flat so it could hold it, and it's more or less the same dimension, a bit bigger just to make sure it holds it inside.
You know, it was funny, Danny, we came down, I said, wow, the Ark was not that big.
Yes.
Really?
Well, it just held 10 commandments.
But a lot of power in there.
Of course. And each time I touch it, I get excited, Eric. You cannot rule out the possibility. I don't have proof, but you cannot rule out the possibility. This is the very place where the Ark of the Covenant was kept.
It seems to absolutely fit the biblical narrative. We are in Tel Beit Shemesh. It is that flat stone. It looks like it hasn't moved in over 3,000 years, to be honest with you.
Yes. Now, the text says that it was put in the field of Joshua from Beit Shemesh. And some people say, well, it doesn't fit because it's field. But I do think the story was orally transmitted and only centuries later put into writing. So maybe they got the word plot changed with the word field. This is definitely a plot of someone from Beit Shemesh. Everything else fits perfectly with the biblical text.
Danny, if you can, take us back over 3,000 years to this very room where the Ark of the Covenant most likely sat atop this ancient stone slab. What would this room look like? Who would be allowed in here? The Ark was venerated, obviously. What would it have been like?
I believe that these benches were for the priests to sit around it. And the entry was probably from this side. The question is, were indeed only priests allowed in? Or were only priests actually entering this place? Because the Bible tells us that the general public came and touched it or got too close to it, and it inflicted a plague upon them as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the reason why the ark wasn't kept here for too long. And then Levites from Kiryat Yarim, which is identified about 10 kilometers, 6 miles west of Jerusalem, took it to a Levite village in the house of Avinadav, and he and his son Elazar then maintained it for 20 years, but the general public would not see it anymore.
How far are we from Jerusalem right now?
About half a day's walk. okay?
In biblical times.
In biblical times. We are, 20 miles.
Yeah.
Kiryat Yarim, now identified in the Arab village of Abu Ghosh, is about 6 miles. And after 20 years, David comes once Jerusalem is set for the ark, and he takes it for final place to Jerusalem.
And it was inside the first temple of his son, King Solomon,
Yes.
Solomon's temple.
We don't know where David exactly kept it in the city of David, but once the temple is complete by his son Solomon, it will be placed there for 3 centuries.
This is so significant, I think, Tel Beit Shemesh, Danny, because this was the return. This was the place of the return of the ark, which
Yes.
is the powerful symbolism for the Jewish people, for the ancient Israelites. I can't imagine the excitement and the buzz that swept throughout the land of Israel when they heard the ark has returned. It's at Beit Shemesh. It's there.
Yeah, it's the 15 minutes of glory that the city had. Otherwise, Beit Shemesh is not mentioned too many times in the Bible, but it is also known from the book of Judges as the homeland of a bully, a bully monk called Samson, whose name is, by the way, similar to the name Beit Shemesh. His name and the city's name seem to echo a vague memory of Canaanite worship of the sun, Shemesh. Okay, but it is said upon Samson that he dwelt between Tzorah and Eshtaol. And here you have Kibbutz Tzorah, there you have Moshav Eshtaol. They are preserving the Arabic names of those places, which are preserving the biblical name of these places from the time of the book of Judges.
So the ark was not here long, but so important because this was the place of return from that, when the Philistines took it, apprehended the ark, and they wanted no parts of it after they saw its power.
Yes.
It's here. It goes to
Kiryat Yarim,
for
Jerusalem.
About 20 years. Jerusalem,
And,
inside the first temple. Then the ark
disappears.
disappears.
The Bible doesn't say. The book Jeremiah hints that it may have been hidden in Mount Nebo. There are other traditions claiming that it went down to Egypt. The Ethiopians claim to have it even in Ethiopia. There are medieval stories of it being found by the Crusaders and taken to Europe. I mean, there's so many wild speculations, but factual history doesn't exist. We just don't know. It vanished.
Folks, I want you to picture in your mind's eye for just a minute, over 3,000 years ago, the Ark of the Covenant. It really, very likely, sat right here. Take that in. What an incredible experience to film there with Danny. Folks, if you like that segment and you want to see more like it, be sure to tune in to our Watchman TV show on TBN. Now, if you like the newscast, you will love our 30-minute weekly show. We're on the ground in Israel and across the Middle East every week. You can see it on TBN every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday night, and then Friday evenings at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. Again, if you like the newscast, you must check out our weekly Watchman TV show on TBN. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today here on the newscast. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.